All right. I totally forgot. I forgot we moved the time. All right, so just tuning up. We're gonna do a review. I've been so busy that I was working late last night. I worked at church on the weekends, so Sunday morning I was up early working. Well, we got. Hey, John, how's it going? Hello from New Jersey. Hello to New Jersey. Hey, Brian. We got different people because I showed up at a different time. I may try to do a different day this week if I get yeah. No, I wasn't sleepyhead. No, I've already run several miles and gotten my walk to get coffee. So I was just sitting talking to Beth, kind of making a plan for the day, and totally forgot. Hey, Jack. And so I'm I've been up since 6:30, but I was up late last night working. And I was going to sleep in, but I didn't. And I got up and I just said, oh, okay, I'm going to go run. So what we could do is we could do some reviews. The funny thing is on this one is the review of the first 4 strings. We could totally do that again because really we just glanced over this, mainly because it was just for you and exercise. Hey, Mary, Marco Island. I've been to Marco Island. I used to go to Jim and Edie's. I think that's the name of the restaurant. Is that right? We used to get crab cakes at Jim and Edie's. In fact, I owned stock in the company that managed or owned Marco Island. My dad's sister married a Norris. I think a Norris. And the Norrises owned, I don't know if you know Key Waden, but we used to go to Key Waden all the time, and they owned that island. And then they donated a bunch of it to the wildlife reserve. But one of my dad's sisters, she looked like frickin' Grace Kelly, and she married a frickin' millionaire. So their family was very wealthy. I think that's why my grandparents retired down in Naples, because they got along so well with their in-laws. But Marco Island, I've been to Marco. Like I said, I only even own stock in it for a while. Probably sold it to eat because I was really into buying in stocks when I was a kid, and when I moved to California, I had a bunch of money saved up, but work wasn't showing up, so I had to sell it all. Yeah. Wow, there's a lot of people on. Bruce had to wake me up. Oh, no, not that many people on. It just everybody's chatty, I guess. You've been there 30 years. Wow, okay. My wife and I honeymooned 34 years ago on Sanibel. I'm sure you know Sanibel. The Bubble Room. Have you been to the Bubble Room, Mary? Your daily internet. You are doing amazing work. Mitzler, thank you. You're welcome. Your daily internet stuff. Brian Hawkins, good to see you. Wow, everyone's chatty. Hey, Tony. Well, I was supposed to be on at 9. I just forgot that we changed the day. In fact, I bet you if Bruce didn't remind me, I probably wouldn't have done anything on Wednesday either. I would have probably gotten to the end of the week and go, did I do my live stream this week? I've been slammed busy. In fact, I'm being texted right now. I've got a couple new things coming up, so that I'm working for the composer on them. A Hallmark movie and a Netflix movie. So, and I worked on a TV show called Why Women Kill, which is on CBS. It's kind of a black comedy. It's a comedy, kind of like Desperate Housewives. Okay. It's just funny. I just totally forgot. Wasn't even thinking about it. Well, and you notice I didn't do a new that's why we're going to do a review, because I didn't do the low E string like I told you I was going to do. And there were a couple times last week I said, oh, I should do this and upload it, get it to them early so they can be working on it, and it's not foreign when we sit down together. And then I remember Saturday night, I thought, oh, shoot, I get home from church. We have some friends over for dinner. I think, oh, after our friends leave, I should do this, the low E string. And then I think I got an email and I had to do some work. So I was working Saturday night and I had to get up early Sunday morning for church. And then I forget then yesterday I got more work and I had to do that. And it just was like, it's just been nonstop, which I'm thrilled with. I love working. I can't wait to tell you what I'm working on, but I'm not allowed to. So when it becomes public, I'll let you know. It's pretty cool. It's not like amazing. You won't be like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Nothing like that. But I got my Django guitar out. This thing's pretty cool. I just recorded. You saw that I posted. Some of you may have seen that I just posted kind of one of my gypsy jazz tunes. And, I should have filmed. I didn't do it, but anyway, I posted that one. That one's an older song. I recorded that quite a while ago, but I just decided I wanted to post it, and then it kind of got me thinking. You know what? I should work on. So I think, what was it? Beth went somewhere, like to the beach or something. Oh no, she went sailing. My wife's taking sailing lessons, and so she was out on the Pacific sailing, and I had the house to myself, so I decided I was going to get this guitar out, and the strings were just... I'm giving the Elixir some shout out here, because these strings, they're a special kind of strings. These, for one thing, they're loop ends. See that? Like a mandolin and a banjo. Okay? The bottom 4 strings that are wound, they're actually a different composite than your normal. Like, you couldn't put normal electric guitar strings on it and get the sound that the gypsy jazz sound. It's a very special kind of string. It's silver wound. Well, the strings were corroded and they just were squeaky and they felt awful. And I was like, I'm going to get tetanus. I'm going to need to get a tetanus shot before I pick up this guitar. And oh yeah, no, Catherine, if you're in Canada, yeah, they're filming up there all the time. It's because it's non-union. So all those the electricians and the grips and the camera and the lights and all that stuff, it's very expensive. You have to pay union, so they get everything out of California. Because if they film in Georgia, it's non-union. If they film in Tennessee and Louisiana, it's non-union. I don't know why it's only union in California, but they just don't ever want to film here. Hardly ever. Just too expensive. So I don't know what the Hallmark film, but I've worked on a lot of Hallmark films. My friend Kelly, she's starred in several. The girl that I write songs with. But so I uploaded this gypsy jazz song, and I'll give you the link. But but it got me thinking. Oh, I should really try to finish writing and recording this one that I did. What am I looking for here? YouTube. And so I'll give you the link to. Oh, let me give you the Discord link too. Here we go. So get shareable link. Okay, so here's the gypsy jazz kind of thing that I wrote. It's only a minute long, and the pictures in there, by the way, pictures I took in Paris with the kids. None of my kids are in it or anything like that, but when we were in Paris. Talking about going to Morocco maybe in September, so we'll see what happens there. Me and the boys. Oh, good. Yeah, Davey. That's why I started late, so Dennis could finish his dinner. Okay, let me grab that Discord link and then I'll pin it so that you can. So if you're new, and I see some new names here, which is cool. I love that. You can join the Discord thing, and there's every single thing I create, all the PDFs and diagrams and everything I upload to Tom's PDFs and lesson stuff, and it's there. So here's that link, and it doesn't cost you anything. The only thing we do ask is if you can use your YouTube username as your username on Discord, so we know who you are. It just gets confusing if people have different names and stuff, but you can have multiple usernames on Discord. So anyway, I had this other song that I wrote, and so it's in the progression is basically it's like C to D7, like G13, back to C, and that's basically the A section, and then the B section is like that. That's the B section. So it's AABA form. And the melody, I've actually been sending it out to a lot of different people I know that are really know music. They're like freaking lexicons of music. Because the melody I wrote over that sounds real familiar to me. And I mean, that's a good melody. If it's a melody that just has a certain sentimentality to it that immediately conjures up something, then you've written a good melody. But so I've been saying out. So I'm trying to find out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to finally use this to my advantage. I'm going to, you know what? I don't need. Let me go full screen here for a second. Well, I could do this, except I won't see it. But anyway, hey, Catherine, how's it going? Huh? How's it going, Catherine? You on that 87-inch TV there? Huh? Wow. You need to clean this place up, though. It's kind of messy. Just so messed up. I'm messy. I'm messing with you guys. So when I recorded this thing quite a while ago, probably 10 years ago or 11 years ago, I did what's called comping. And there's two definitions of music for comping. One's old and one's a new definition. What I was doing here, playing rhythm, that's comping. So if somebody says, "Hey man, would you comp for me?" That's what that means. The modern definition, another modern definition that's been adding is when you're recording in digital on a digital workstation, a DAW, digital audio workstation, DAW. You can do this thing where you cycle the song and you can just keep playing like multiple times. Okay. Singers will do this a lot. It works great for singing. So you can sing it, like you can just even do a phrase or a verse or a chorus or whatever. It could be one measure, it could be 4 measures, it could be however long you want it to be. And it'll keep repeating and you just keep singing it. And then all of those will line up and you can see them all and you can individually listen to them all. And then you can select them and you can be as minute as, I like the word, this word, and this word, and this word, and this word, or this note, this note, this note. You go like that and comp together, and it looks like ultimately you're creating like a patchwork quilt of your melody or whatever your rhythm or whatever you're playing. And so I did that. I played over this, and I kind of wanted to, I didn't want to write per se write a solo for this song. I wanted to improvise it. So I had the melody down, so the A section was nailed. And what I did was I started improvising over this, not the A section, but the AABA. I got that first section done, then I did this on the repeat. It repeats ultimately 3 times. It's about a 3-minute song. I took that middle section and I just did a million improvs. And I just kept improvising over it, And sometimes it was totally useless stuff. And some stuff was like brilliant because I'm brilliant. Let's hear it. I don't even have my speakers on. I'm not really afraid to get it out there because I'm not afraid anybody's going to steal it or anything like that. I've been sending it out to friends, but hold on. But the problem was I do some amazing, brilliant, genius line, melodic lick or something. And then when you go to comp out of that, I couldn't find a lick because I wasn't hearing what I did before. So the gaps were all in different spaces. And so if you can't get out of a lick when you're comping, it's very, very difficult to use a phrase. So I might have to use a lesser phrase because I have a way to, and that's like, it's not the way to create a solo. But I managed, over time I managed to come up with lines and phrases that I liked. So then what I did was I took the song and let's see, I got it here somewhere. Boy, I'm getting hounded right now. Where is it? So, Bruce, and this is part of my record. Okay, so we're remember we talked about doing a record, and I did some videos on that, and I haven't done anything with it. What I'm going to do is I'm probably going to just release these one song at a time. I'm going to do a song when I'm inspired to do it. And like I said, that day that Beth was gone sailing, I just had the house to myself. It was nice and quiet. I could concentrate. And I didn't have any other work, except I should have been doing our lesson, which if I'd done that, I would have remembered to be here Monday or today. But anyway, I basically, so I had the day to work on this. So the one thing I had already started and almost finished was I had done MIDI of, sorry, I'm getting my windows in order here. I'd taken the solo that I did on the guitar, on this guitar, and this is my gypsy jazz. Isn't that beautiful? Look at the wood on this maple. Just a gorgeous guitar. Del Arte gypsy. And actually, this is made in San Diego, down by Taylor. And so I actually transcribed, there's a reason I did this, I transcribed note for note the guitar solo that I liked, basically. So I loaded in a piano, and then I just started moving notes around until I got all the phrases that I did on the guitar, I had them on the piano. And the reason I did that was so I could have a chart, and here it is, basically. Because once I have the piano MIDI, then I can turn that into a chart that I could read for going, okay, I'm going to work on this section now. And so there are plenty of gaps in here, so I had to punch in. I didn't play this in one sitting, but this is all the solo. All my favorite bits of the solos that I did, I actually put it together on a piano thing. And that way I was able to, with the comping thing, if I couldn't like quite slide between two different phrases on two different comps, two different takes, then I could still make it work somehow with the piano, and then I could replay it later. And so that's kind of what I did. And so it's funny. I have the piano here, but I got it muted. So let's see, where am I here? So the melody is so simple. It's literally almost one note. It's kind of like what's the one note samba by Joe Beam? Is it the you know that one? I can't remember the actual, but it's a one note samba. It's a great piece, brilliant, harmonization of a very complex. I mean, very simple melody, but complex. Yeah, thank you, Pro. And so there's a lot of different things about this guitar that make it sound different. And actually, I've used this on a couple pop things because it definitely sounds different than your typical acoustic guitar, which is always good to look for a different sound. But the sound hole, the shape, the bracing on the inside is different, If you look up Django Reinhardt, he basically played a guitar like this. The only thing is, unfortunately, they didn't have a mahogany back inside. They only had the maple one, and I just went ahead and bought it because I liked it. Also, this is just decorative. Okay, this is not attached to it. But so the bridge is and it's got the trapeze, which is unusual for an acoustic guitar, which means the strings are actually mounted here. The tension is here and not on the top of the guitar. The strings are pushing down on the guitar, but they're not coming up from underneath the guitar. And then the strings are different too. So, and it's got a 0 fret, which means there's a fret at the 0 position, which doesn't really affect the tone too much, but maybe a little bit. Makes it sound a little bit more metallic when it's open. It sounds more fretted when you hit it open. So anyway, it's cool. It's not a complete. It's not exactly an acoustic guitar. It's similar, but not quite. Yeah, the maple body is just it's stunning. I do love maple, by the way. And the thing is, maple is very bright and projects really good. It's a very hard wood, so it's a very projecting wood, which not going to really come into play too much with a small sound hole like this, but. So the melody on this is very simple. I feel like I plagiarized it, so that's why I've been sending it out to a few people. But what I'm going to do is I told you I'm going to use, you know how YouTube's always jacking with me for you remember, some of you were with me when we first started doing this. Remember I played that 6 Pavanas and a Fantasia for, it was written by Louis Milan in the 16th century, and I'm playing it for you and saying, hey, you know, if you need a simple classical guitar piece that will last 20 minutes at a wedding, you need to play at a wedding. This is a great piece, and I'm playing it, and you know, I'm just kind of performing it for you, and you're just sitting there listening, and it's just kind of what we're doing at that day. And I got a copyright notice takedown. I'm like, how can you have a copyright notice takedown for a song that's 500 years old? Clearly, the copyright is inspired, and apparently some florist had used a recording of it on their video of their of the florist, and they claimed copyright, or they were deemed copyright holder. And so I, of course, contested, and of course won. I've won every time. But so now I'm going to upload the song. I'm not going to publish it, but I'm just going to upload it, because as soon as I upload something to YouTube, their algorithms automatically check and see if there's any melodies in there that are copyright, or any music that's copyrighted. So immediately, like when I did the stupid bluegrass jam in A, the one I did where I did, like, the only thing I didn't do that I should have done instead of 100 beats per minute, I should have gone 101, or 101.167 or some weird tempo. That might have thrown them off, but I had a copyright notice on it, and it was me strumming 3 chords. So I'm like, you can't do that, and I fought it, but I didn't publish it until those 30 days elapsed. And but this time, and immediately, like I said, as soon as I uploaded it, it said copyright infringement. I'm like, really? So their algorithms are working as you're uploading, so I'm gonna go ahead and create a little 1-slide video of the song, upload it to YouTube, and see if they peg it. Because might as well I could pay a musicologist $1,500 to $15,000 to see if it's a real song or not. But okay, so after all of that setup, I'll have to check that out. Oh yeah. Oh, or if you're a Negro, it's fantastic. Okay, cool. We got a lot of new people here. Nayor. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. It's ridiculous. It's literally ridiculous. That's one thing. If I were, when I was doing the Bieber song ETA, and I was playing it in the background as I was listening to it for this time, because I wrote that song with Pooh Bear. That one got copyright, and I was fine with it. I'm like, fine. I'm not going to monetize. I don't need to monetize this. So, let's see. How do you pull down the PDFs of the lessons? If you just put your mouse over it, it should have a little download icon, and if you click on that. So, no, John, I didn't show up until a half an hour ago. So don't worry about it. You didn't miss anything. There is no new PDF today, no. So we're just chatting right now. I forgot. I got busy. I've been so busy, and I love being busy. It's what I do. So, I just pulled up that. I don't know if anyone's going to ask any questions. Has anybody asked any questions except for, is there a new PDF today? That's the only question. Oh, can you show me some phrases on 251, for example, A minor 7, B flat minor 7, E7, A7. this little pop song. Well, that's kind of when I did ETA. This is 5. This is 1. What? I wouldn't call that a 2-5-1, but let me get to that in a second. I'm going to play this song for a second so you can kind of hear it. Hopefully, let's see. I'm going to pull it. This is actually off the session. So. I don't know what page 3 is. So I don't know. It sounds so familiar that I'm not sure if that's something that pre-existed. It would be something old, obviously. It's a very old sound, everything, but and actually, as soon as I end this live stream, it'll probably tell me if that was copywritten or not. So once I finish mixing it, and I'm going to upload it using CD Baby, so you can technically listen to it on Spotify, put it on a Spotify playlist, or Apple Music. If you want to buy it at iTunes, you can buy it at iTunes. If you want to listen, it'll be on all the streaming services all over the world. So I'll go ahead and upload it. It's expensive to do one song at a time. It's much cheaper to do a whole album, but I don't really care. I'm not necessarily doing it for the money. I don't have it memorized. I mean, I have the melody memorized, but the improvisation that I did, if I were to perform it live, I wouldn't do the same improvisation. I would improvise differently, because what's the fun in doing that? The great thing about improvising is you're scared blankless. If I were to memorize all of that, which would be hard for me because I have a horrible memory. If I were to memorize all that, though, to perform it, it would be kind of like playing a classical piece, which is fine, but there's no seat of your pants moments. And so, yes, YouTube will tell me that's enough of it right there. That basically, I just played it. So you're right, Bob. I don't need to upload it now. I just did it. So we'll see if YouTube goes, nope, that's a song. And because when they do that, they give you a link to the song. And every time they've ever done it to me, I've been like, yeah, that's not the same song. I don't know what you're talking about. Nitro Finish, I have no idea, bro. I'm not like a tech guy when it comes to gear. I just buy something. In fact, I mean, everybody here knows that I'm happy using a $99 Squire. I was just using this last night on the new Apex Legend game. Or everybody take a sip. I just said I played on Apex Legend. Got a new character coming out. So I was working on that character, and I liked that. For the character, it fit to use the kind of cheap, funky Strat. So, okay, question that John has, quick question. Is there any rule of thumb for how long the practice sessions should be optimal learning and development? Whew, that's... yeah, I mean, okay, so two guys saw Jeff's question too. Sorry, Jeff. You know, I would say that the time, amount of time is irrelevant. It's how well the time is spent and how much fear is involved. Okay? So in other words, if you've got a gig where you're performing something on Friday and it's Monday and you're not ready, say it's it's a Bach piece. Say you're going to do, what is it? I can't remember it. Anyway, clearly I've never had to perform that piece. Okay, and say you didn't have that down, and you got to perform it in front of people on Friday. All right, I guarantee you that your practice sessions that week will be very productive because they have to be. And this is one of my things I say. I don't know that I did not say it in my 7 tips for older beginners. I may have said it in the follow-up to that. I should do 7 more tips for older beginners because there's some great tips that I didn't mention that other people mentioned. I should do that. That would actually make a great video. Let me make a note. Where can I put this? I'm going to find it. I'm going to put it on the back of a piece of music. It's just going to get ignored. All right, I'll text myself. How about that? Or I'll email myself. Because I can come up with 7 more easy. All right, so, oh, funny. I got an email from somebody saying, "Are we doing it?" So, yeah, I don't know. Somebody smarter than me is going to have to tell me if it's nitro. So I definitely think one of the best things you can do is to kind of force yourself. It doesn't have to be performing in public, but it could be getting together with a jam session with other guys. Or you're going to work on something. Or before COVID, I kind of went to this thing a couple times where a bunch of guitar players were getting together at church and they were just jamming. And it was like 15 people. It was too many people for me to be like fun. It was one of those opportunities though where I think a lot of the guys and gals there were a little nervous about being there, and they all had music books. They all brought their books. I didn't have one. But they all had been adding music to these books, and somebody would bring a new tune. They'd have to make like 15 copies, and everybody would add it to the book. So it was a really great idea. And so people would be practicing. They would learn these songs pretty good because they had to. And there'd be a banjo player, there'd be someone playing mandolin, there'd be someone playing bass. So there was, kind of a coverage. It wasn't all guitar. There was somebody with a 12 string. And so that even that, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to set up a gig at the Carnegie Hall on Friday, kind of thing. One of the things I did when we first got married, I was feeling a little bit guilty because Beth was working all day, and I didn't feel like I was doing enough. Practicing didn't feel like, I mean, practicing is work, but it was like, it wasn't generating revenue. So there was a restaurant that I was playing jazz at on Sunday brunches at, and I said, hey, can I come in during the week and play classical guitar for tips and food? They fed me, and I got tips, and I really made no tips because the restaurant was right next to the courthouse, and lawyers are awful tippers. I mean, on average, I would make about $1.50 for an hour and a half of playing classical guitar. But the point was, really, 100% of the reason I did it was because I wanted to get in front of people playing classical guitar so I wouldn't be nervous. And so when so I had a bunch of music, and I would take that music and I would play it at 25% tempo. So like, for example, the Bach Chaconne, which is 11 pages of just black notes everywhere, I would play it at a very, very slow tempo. And they didn't know, because it's beautiful no matter what tempo you play it at. And it was a way for me to deal with the nervousness of being in front of people, because I always got very nervous playing by myself. If I was in a band, I never got really nervous. But if I was by myself in front of people, it's very nerve-wracking. So that was one of those things where, I would, I was kind of practicing from them, but those are very, very good, efficient practicing things. Now, somebody else asked me a question. Hold on a second. Where was it? That was further up there. Jeff, how much is memorizing and how much is reading of that song? Well, because I played it just recently. Like I recorded this, when was that, Friday? The melody is just 3 notes. And then what was it? Yeah, it was like. You just want to set up the melody, give a lick into the melody. So, I can read it because I know it. It's not like if somebody put this in front of me to sight read at that tempo, because the tempo is 235 beats per minute. If somebody threw it in front of me at that tempo to read, I'd probably have soiled trousers. So, yeah. And my hair is on point. I just got up. This is nothing. I didn't do anything with my hair. This is literally roll out of bed hair. Because I went running, and I take Sundays off. So I hadn't run in a day, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna hurt. And I'm going really easy on myself because running's a new thing, and I'm old, and so it's gonna be hard. And it was like the first block I was running was like, oh, my lungs and my legs, and the second block was worse. And then the third block was like, wait. And then I just was like, and I'm listening to on the way there, I'm listening to the Bible, and on the way back, I listen to a podcast or something like that. I've got I'm doing the chronological Bible, which is hilarious because it's like jumps all over the place. It's just is like really funny, and because it's doing it in chronological order. So like Job is actually the oldest book in the Bible, and it was written before Genesis, because Genesis was written after all those events happened. It was a recollection, but Job is actually writing in his present day about present day events. And so you're in the middle of like Exodus, and all of a sudden you start hearing Job. So it's cool, but it's weird. I just woke up like this. This is what you guess. Well, what my wife gets every day. And so I'm doing that, and then I get back, and Beth goes with me to walks to Starbucks, and then I got back in. We're just shooting the breeze, talking, and I'm actually I'm doing research. I'm getting texts from a composer about this Lifetime movie, and she's sending me some instrument that she wants to know if I have, and I hadn't gotten that one yet. I've got a new one coming Wednesday, guys. I got a new instrument coming Wednesday. I don't know if I've talked about this, so I'll have it for. Will I do an unboxing? Maybe I'll do an unboxing. I might do an unboxing. That might not be a bad idea for this instrument. So I'll do an unboxing and then I'll post it. I may end up posting it before next Monday's lesson, but I may do a lesson later this week, or maybe I'll just, like I said, we could do review today. But out of the bed gel, well, that gel just is like works great, and it's really kind of the cut that, and I always tell the lady that cuts my hair, I tell her she doesn't really speak English. She's just like one of those little. It's like a little Mexican barber shop right around the corner from my house. And so I just walk in there and just sit down and say, okay. I say short sides and back and messy top is what I say. I think she understands. I need to learn that in Espanol so that I could just say it to her. She'd probably laugh because it'll be like pigeon Spanish. But yeah, so, like these lines, I mean, most of these lines I improvised originally. And then I transcribed them, my favorite lines from the recording, and some of the stuff some of these lines were new. Like there was one line that I had in the piano that I went, I couldn't get it down. So I'm like, I couldn't find it in any of the comps. So I think I wrote it on piano and then couldn't play it on guitar. But it was, I could play it slow. Let's see, where's it go? Okay, here it is. Very similar to that one. Yeah, that's. Yeah, I'm like, what was I thinking? Nope. I don't know. I forget what I replaced it with, but I didn't use that. But then I did do this. It's one of my favorite licks. And so that's 7 notes. All right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's just basically a C lick. I'm starting on the G. So if you can just envision this C bar chord here, right? The F chord, G, A. See these? Oh, and then I didn't finish telling the story about the strings. These are not elixir strings. So they were just corroded, and I hadn't hardly played them at all, but they'd been sitting in the case, which elixir strings wouldn't do, which is why I like elixir strings. And I am a tool. They give me a couple sets every year. They just sent me a T-shirt. I actually will probably wear it one of these weeks. They sent me a couple T-shirts, but that's all they give me. They're not really paying me money to say anything. They just give me some sets of strings. I just like the strings. I wouldn't say it. I don't care if they're paying me. I would still say the same thing. That's just my integrity wouldn't allow me to promote something that I didn't truly use and like. So I have 2 sets of strings in the case of this case, a beautiful case that it came with. I had 2 sets of strings that I bought specifically because I thought, I need to have, because these are not normal strings. They're very specific strings for gypsy jazz, literally called that. Silver coated strings, everything. So I pull a set of strings out. I put on the E string. I put on the B string. I get the G string out. It's completely corroded, and the pack was sealed. I was just livid. I was like, "Are you kidding me? These are new strings. They should have been totally, fine." And it's like they're all like brown and yellow. It's like totally. It's like they put a used string in the. I don't know. So I'm not thrilled with, but because it's very squeaky. But that lick, so again, if you take this bar chord all the way up there, this is the E form C chord, right? E looks like an E chord, slid up. That's why we call it E form. Okay, this is kind of you could say this is kind of a caged lick. It's kind of, I'm starting like almost on the B.B. King thing. Right. I mean the Chuck Berry thing. Okay, of course that was in B flat originally, but so in A, so in C. So I'm starting on this 5th, and I'm going to go to this root here. But the nice thing about it is it's 7 notes, which means that I can do triplet 16ths, right? Is that what I know? Triplet 8ths at this tempo. That tempo, it sounds like 16ths, but that's the tempo. 1, 2, deep 1, 1, 2, dun, 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 dun. Okay. So if I play 8, 10, 12, 8, 10, 11, 12. I've got a little bit of a chromatic thing I talked about in my latest video, or second to last video. Okay. But if you started on, in this case, here I've written, I don't know, I think I started maybe on beat 3. You start on beat 3, you land on beat 1, okay? And you can practice. Oh, I didn't really talk about going down, did I, Steve? I would do going down, Steve. I would start on the pinky and just go 4 fingers all the way down until you get to the 6th string. And I would just do a double 1 at the end there. Play the 6th fret there. So, and then if you want to do the Django one, you could just. That's how, because Django only had 2 fingers, really. These 2 fingers were fused together. So he really played everything he did amazingly. This genre was basically invented by him and Stephen Grappelli. So, yeah, so these, but some of these phrases I really, really like. Let's see. In this, I really, in fact, the solo section, which is the middle section, is A, form, song form, and then it does it 3 times. The middle section is technically a solo section, but what the things I liked of the comps that I did when I started comping, and I literally did like 14 passes through this song, improvising, hoping that I could comp something together, a really beautiful, amazing Django solo. But the stuff I tended to like, and Django really, really liked hitting the 6th. Okay, so a 6th would be, especially over a minor chord, like a D minor chord. Here's D minor. Isn't that a great sound? So I'm playing a D minor triad, 7, 6, 5, and then I'm going to 7. See, like a jazzer might go up to the 7th, but a gypsy jazzer would go to the 6th. And maybe hit the sharp 6 or sharp 7. And so that's a really common, the 6th is a really, really common device to use. So I really try to hit that a lot. I try to hit the 9ths a lot too. So like if you're playing over D minor, that note really, really shines. The 6th and the 9th and the major 7th all sound great over the D minor chord. So it's like something's going. Just sounds really gypsy. It's like you're in frickin' Paris at that moment. I don't know. It's so awesome. And when a song can do that, can transport you. Yeah, the 1-string one is really hard to try to get each note individually hit as you go up the, because they're all there, but that just sounds like a slide. But if you can do it, if you do it right, it sounds like you're doing this. Yeah. And you could practice this and try to get that to go, it's a real timing thing. You can even just start with, try to get those triplets even. I think da 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 da. No, I'm doing 16ths. Da da da. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 because it's 13 notes. Right? Chromatic 12 chromatic plus the last note. But anyway, it's amazing how just a certain, even that flat 6th is also really nice. We talked about this before, way back last year, about chromatic neighboring tones, remember? Or even just neighboring tones. And surrounding your pitch that we got those 3 notes, the D minor, D, F, A. And that just immediately evokes this Paris. It's like, I wish I could play that lick. And boom, I'm in Paris. That would be dope. Let's see. You didn't get the last 4 sips. Oh, well, here. I'll touch my face. So that's a COVID no. I've gotten the point to licking doorknobs, though. I'm afraid we're all going to die of the common cold because everybody's like, their body's like, oh, I don't need to resist germs anymore because you're wearing a mask and you've got the antiseptic all the time. You're killing all the germs everywhere. Oh, cool. Okay, we can just go blah, 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 and all of a sudden, boom. Let's see. Oh, trying to find the SIP rules. I know. I have a hard time finding those too. They be way back in Discord. I don't think I ever saved them. Oh, wait. Maybe I did. Hold on. Let me see if I saved them. I can name most of them. Surely most of you can name most of them. Let's see. YouTube. Whoa. Oh, live stream stuff. Okay. Oh, my gosh. There's 392 items in here. I'm not kidding. Remember the names for the bluegrass songs? What was it? Not economical. Write down everything I say. Sad dad bachelor pad. Blues grass. Flipping off the parents. Inigo Montoya from Rancho Cucamonga. Pent up. Uncle Yon's real. That was the first one. I'm not seeing lists. What's that list? Most influential guitar. Oh yeah, this was I did a video. We talked about my most influential guitars. I could probably do one of those that. Well, I'm not seeing that anywhere here, so yeah, it's going back. I'm going back pretty far, and it would have had to been. Oh wait, here's Tom. Okay, I found something here. But this is pretty old, so we've added a lot to it. This is from the very beginning. Oh yeah, this is nothing. Touch face, change guitar, forget tuning, third person. Oh, I refer to myself in the third person. If I use air quotes. If I say I had a band in high school called, and if I say I played guitars on Apex, that's so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got to 15 or 17 or something like that, I think, at the end. Oh, look at that. Aslan has it. Or no, he's making these up. Oh, speak of sign the adoration. Or a family member appears on screen. Tom's pointed correctly at an OBS graphic without a sip from the line. Yeah. Should a quiz it could reverse it that? Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's right. That was one of them. If I say there won't be a quiz on this, you all take a sip, a celebratory sip. If I leave the room, that's also a celebratory sip. It's funny though, because one of the times I had to go talk to my gardener, and I was like literally gone for like 10, 15 minutes, and I had more viewers then than I had before. I'm like, wait a minute, this could be brilliant. I should just like set up all these live streams and then just not be there. Just like a live stream of, well, that could be dangerous if I forget it's going on. I could have a Jeffrey Toobin moment. Imagine. Ooh, oh, it has 16 on it. Okay. Oh, you found it. Oh, okay, there's a sip announcement up near the top of the announcement. Okay. I would assume that's a current one, Holly. Yeah. All the old timers are like, yep. Yeah, so this is kind of a little like, little, almost like a trumpet, like a horn section in some ways. And it's intended to be flashy. So there's very few triplets in here. Most everything's eighth notes or, less. Eighth notes are pretty flashy just because of the freaking tempo. But one of the sections I really like on this was when it goes, when I do, let's see. What is it? Yeah, I go, let's see. 1. that's over the. Oh, see. Yeah, so that's over the. What chord is that over? Oh, that's over the C chord. Okay, there's a good example of. So the C chord is really. I'm playing a C6. So here's the voicing I'm using for that gypsy jazz. The comping, the rhythm playing on gypsy jazz stuff tends to be very minimalistic. Usually a root, a seventh or sixth of some kind, and then a third, major or minor. So this would be C. Like instead of a C major chord, they wouldn't do that. Instead of C major, they would often play a C6 chord. And if I went to C minor 6 like this, it could also imply F7. But I'm muting a lot of strings. So the voicing for that 6 chord, the C chord that I'm using is, let's see, 8, 7, and 9. But 8 is nothing. So 8X, 7, 9, XX, nothing on top. So it's kind of a cool voicing. Oh, funny. Hey, Zach Dervis is in the house. What's going on? Do you have a choral electric sitar? Yes. I don't have a choral one. I'm not getting one to play some gypsy jazz. I've never heard gypsy jazz played on a choral sitar, but now you've inspired me. Hold on a second. Let me just write out this voicing here. So it's, what did I say? 8. That's the C, then X, and then 6 is the, is that right? No, 7. 7 is the 7th fret is the 6th of the chord, and then you have the 3rd there, okay? The 3rd is at the 8th fret, and then XX. And that's a C6 chord, okay? And that's a very gypsy voice. Oh, dang it, I wrote it wrong. That's C minor 6. I'm going to delete myself here. Remove. All right, message retracted. Okay, so C6 would be 8X, dang it, I keep hitting 6. 9XX. That would be C6. C minor 6 would be the 8 on top. So it would be C minor 6 would be 8X, 7, 8XX. Okay? So those are two cool voices, the minor 6 and the... so for a lot of times for the minor, instead of hitting the minor 7th, you would hit the minor 6th. So that's the first voicing I'm doing. Okay, so the lick I do that is in the solo section actually almost sounds like a new melody because I kept it. I kept it very. I kept it very melodic. I didn't want to necessarily be flashy. I really can't be flashy. I don't have those chops. But the licks. That is over a C chord. And so I'm hitting G, A, G, E, C, A, and landing on A. So I'm really highlighting the whole 6th aspect of the right? And it kind of feels good in the hand. And then when it changes to D7, okay, which the voicing I'm using there is 10, 10, 11, same strings. Oh, you've missed so much, John. I do that. So I'm really emphasizing that 6th. It's just, it makes it sound gypsy. That 6th, the 9th, over the minor chords, that sharp 7th, those all make it sound gypsy. And keep in mind, I'm a quarter French and a quarter Bohemian, so this music resonates with me. I'm not a killer at it, but it just speaks to me. Flamenco music does too. I really love flamenco music, and then I'm really getting into Middle Eastern music. In fact, thinking about going to Morocco in the fall with my boys. I'm just kind of going on an adventure. and hoping to hear a lot of music. May pick up an instrument or two. That would be kind of fun. So, so then when I change, when I change one note instead of playing the G there, I'm playing the F sharp, and that accommodates the D7. Really, it's kind of a D9 chord that's being implied throughout the song. And so I'm playing the 3rd, the 5th, the 9th, avoiding the root. There's no D in here. This is the 7th. So I'm basically kind of outlining a D9 chord. Okay, which is that, Okay. So that, and then the next chord is G7, and there I'm just doing a pure G7 lick. And what do I always? Well, we talk about this a lot with soloing. One of the best ways to create a musical solo is to do theme and variations, and that's exactly what that is. Now I changed the rhythm of it, which I really like that I did that. Like for example, at one point I do. And then I quote myself. Oh, it's a 1. 1. And then I change where that starts. So even though I'm quoting myself, I move it so that it's not boring. So I'm doing 1 on beat 2. 1. Oh, let's see. 1. And then I go to 1. Sorry. So it's like this 1. So I create little melodies inside of melodies, and that's well, yeah, and that's not, these are not Django lines, but he would it's very similar to Django. How would he do this? Let's see. He did like. I have a book that literally has Django solos transcribed twice. Copy pasted, basically done the same solos, but fingered for 4 fingers and then fingered for 2 fingers. And it's a guess. The guy that transcribed the solos and did the 2-finger fingerings for it, he's guessing at how Django played these. Pretty educated guess, but dang it, there are just not. There's just not any videos of the guy. I mean. If there were, they would be up on YouTube, and there's very limited videos. He was in a couple movies, but the filming is it's so dark. You really can't think. But that's why he would do things like, he would do stuff like that, where he could sound like he was playing. That's hard. But he would do it like that. But he definitely played a lot of stuff, and you do see some stuff where he's moving his 2 fingers around. And it's just like and then that kind of stuff. And then these 2 fingers he would use for like 6 chords. Like he could do this. He would do like a minor 6 chord like that. Like he could do a bar with it like that. But I think Duke Ellington saw him play one time and was like astonished. Just like didn't, I don't care what you think your disadvantage or disability is in life. And keep in mind, Django's hands were destroyed after he was already a pretty well-known guitar player in the area. At least he was already playing. And at the time, he was playing banjo. That was the instrument you would play. Guitar really wasn't an instrument, except outside of classical circles back then. because it wouldn't cut through in a classical guitar would not cut through in a club. A club where people are dancing and you're playing with horns or fiddles or other instruments. It's just not going to cut through. So they would use banjo, just like in Dixieland, because banjos are freaking loud. I always hated practicing banjo when I lived in an apartment building because I just felt bad for my neighbors. I would always practice during the day when no one was home. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like I was saying. Anytime you can add to the minor chord, like the sixth, the ninth, the seventh, the major seventh. Avoid the minor seventh. The ninth is also the flat six is really nice. So you get this because the flat six kind of sets up that nice G minor and the four chord in the D minor key. But there's something about gypsy jazz. It's happy, sad at the same time. And we're talking about people that were pretty well. They were killed by Hitler in the 40s. Somehow Django survived. I'm reading his biography, or slowly reading his biography, a biography, and I haven't gotten to World War II yet. But he stayed in France, I think, through the duration of World War II. I'm not sure what he did, but maybe he was allowed to survive because he could entertain everybody. But out of curiosity, these six chords you just talked about, what context, style, genre, music? Well, like I said, I primarily. I use those primarily for gypsy jazz. Jazz too, I could use them in jazz. But the thing about that voicing is it's got the bass and it's got guide tones. Okay, so we have the guide tones, which is the third and the seventh or the sixth in this case, and it's got the root. So it's a really good. Again, keep in mind this is like this music style came up in the 30s when there really wasn't electric guitars or amplification, so the guitar players had to be pretty loud. And gypsy jazz was typically bass, two guitars, violin, So, but that would project more, believe it or not, than if I played. I can really dig, and it's faster. You can. The reason you use these voicings is because they're just you can change them really fast. I'm not displaying that very well, but yeah. So that's the Django. Yeah, I can't. If I click on it, it'll take me away from this. Hold on a second. I can't. I don't want to play. Oh, weird. I'll watch it later, Bruce. But yeah. Let's see. So usually you start on the root of the chord. For the licks, not necessarily. No, that's just so I can show you what chord we're playing over. But like these licks. That was over the G chord, right? And the other thing if you want to kind of emulate the gypsy jazz thing, is to do a fast, deep vibrato. That kind of thing. That sounds very gypsy. And these strings are weird strings. They're not normal electric guitar strings. So they're very squishy. They almost feel like nylon strings, but they're not. There's something about them, and they really do lend themselves well to deep, fast vibratos. Yeah, did you find a good one? I can't click. For some reason, it won't let me click a copy link. Let me see if I got to be careful, though, because if video unavailable. Weird. It's saying it's unavailable to me, but that's just me. Also, let me see what. Oh no, yeah, because it's not showing me the whole URL. I have to click on the link. But yeah, so Zach, we're talking about the song that I wrote that I'm getting ready to push or promote or to release. But I'm trying to make sure I didn't steal the melody because it's such a great melody. I think it sounds familiar. I love that line. I love that line. It's was that? What did I do? What is it? No. That's it. This is a great line, and that's over the C chord. I'm kind of playing a C diminished thing over it. You know. But, you know, I'm kind of implying a G13 kind of G altered thing over that. So it's like, oh, end of the phrase, let's go to the C chord. Hold on a second. My composer's texting me. All right. Filthy. Just beautiful. I mean, it's like I said, gypsy jazz is happy sad. It's like you're happy listening to it, but it's also everything's in minor key. So it's got this weird bittersweet thing going on. It's really wonderful, wonderful music. Flamenco music is the same way. Flamenco music's so powerful, and yet everything's in minor keys, and everything's in 6 or 5 or these weird, you know, subgroupings, and it's just, hey, oh, what gypsy guitar would you rent? I don't know. I probably paid way too much for this one, but it's a Del Arte made in San Diego. It's a beautiful one. Isaías, help us. So where was that? So where am I? If I get rid of this, that phrase. go back to the B section. All right, I invert the B section. It's a fun song. So I'm hoping to release this in the next week or so, just for fun. Okay. But I not had anyone tell me what melody that is, so we'll see what happens. Oh, there's no material to study, Sam. I totally forgot. You're not that late because I didn't start till 9:30 because Bruce and Mike goes, so are we doing a thing today? I'm like, it's Monday. I forgot we moved it to Monday. I was all worried about you guys forgetting that I was moving it to Monday, that I forgot. I didn't even think I'd forget. So, we definitely need some rain, but that's not going to happen. So, yeah, I'll just jump in the pool instead of taking a shower. Ooh, I'm sweating though. It is warm in here. Let's see what else. Anybody else have any questions? Oh, what gypsy? Oh no, yeah, Isaias. I don't know. I actually was looking at there are some cheap ones out there. Like under $1,000 gypsy guitars. I don't know that they really matter for too much. I think if you get a decent set of strings on it, I think get the gypsy strings, which is what they would come with anyway. I think that. Personally, my opinion is that those guitars are pretty lo-fi sounding anyway. So for me to spend as much as I did on that one, it's a beautiful guitar. It's very well made. I just recently looked it up on Reverb. I haven't found this one in particular, but it's held its value. Let's put it that way. So that's good. Sorry. Zach, are you still there? You asked me about a choral sitar. I don't have a choral sitar, but I got the Jerry Jones one. I don't know that I would recommend spending the money to get a vintage choral electric sitar. If I look that up on Reverb, if there's even one up there, the problem with them isn't that. What the heck is this? I don't want to see this. Okay. Choral. Electric. Okay, yeah. Choral Vincent Bell electric sitar. Because Vincent Bell was the session guitar player that invented the thing. Yeah. It's $2,700. Now, this one looks in phenomenal shape. Really looks great. But there's a lot. It's all plastic. There's a lot of plastic on this thing. And, I mean, to find one in this good a shape is pretty rare. Who is it that's making, now why is that a tremolo? There's no tremolo on this. What's that? I don't know. Pretty amazing shape, but $2,700. I got my Jerry Jones for like $800, but then he doesn't exist. He doesn't make guitars anymore. So here's the choral. Sorry, here copy. Here's the one I'm looking at right now. If you want to look at it. Let's see if the Jerry Jones. See, the Jerry Jones, a newer one's going to not have any. It's not going to be as dried out, sensitive Jerry. Oh, here it is right here. Yeah. Well, here's the Rogue one. The Rogue did a cheap one. See, man, the one that I have. See, mine is. What color is mine? Mine's red. I don't even remember what color mine is. What color is my sitar? Anyone know? I just used it too. I'm like, I guess I was looking at the music and not the guitar. This one is almost an exact replica, but it's $2,300. So it's not much cheaper to get a Jerry Jones one. The advantage of the Jerry Jones one, though, is that it's newer, and so it's probably less likely going to have broken parts or break soon if you used it much. This one's at Norm's. That's hilarious. I mean, most of my guitars are done pretty. No, I think I have the red one. This looks familiar. Here's another one for $22. There's also one without the sympathetic strings. I don't really use not the sympathetic strings. The what's it called? Schwarmendal, without the electric Schwarmendal on it. I don't really use those. So you don't need to get that one. You can get the simpler one if you're looking at an electric sitar. This is probably a good one to get. And when these were new, these were even cheaper. I got that one just because I want to get everything, and it was only like $100 more or something. So I wanted to get the fuller one. The prequel that came out, Star Trek ending theme. The prequel that came out. The prequel. Is that the TV show, Sam, or is that the movie? Let's see, Star Trek. Come on, load. Where's the internet? We're not having issues, are we? No. All right. Oh, here we go. No. Where are you? Oh. Let's see. Huh. Weird. Just the window closed itself. That's weird. All right. Let's try this again. Josh, what's going on? What advice do you have for amp heads running direct into sound? Yeah, you're going to need to go through some kind of TV series, Sam. Okay, well, I'm looking it up right now. You're going to need to go through some kind of amp simulator or a speaker simulator. I used to have these let me see if I can find them. Hold on a second. It's basically. I'm CSI right now, Enterprise. Okay, 2001. 2001, I mean, the guitar, that could have been so many people. It wasn't me. I know that. Oh, I might be able to tell. Let's see. Series music by Brian Tyler. Let's see. Dennis, I know Brian. I don't know most of these composers. I don't know any of them, really, except Brian Tyler. And Brian Tyler's a very good guitar player. So he may have done it himself. Let's see. Under music department. Yeah, they're not. Eric Hester, get out of town. I'm friends with Eric. Chris Falson, composer. No way. That's a weird name. I don't know if that's the same guy. No, it's a different guy. I know a South African named Chris Falson's a worship leader. I'm like, that's kind of weird. But he is a musician. Robert Watson. Oh, that is my friend Robert. That's funny. So I do have some friends involved. That is my friend Robert. He actually he conducted. Oh, he orchestrated. I think he was a conductor, actually. I don't know. Let's see. So I don't know who played guitar on that. Okay, so the question that who was it that Josh? Okay, so let's see if they have the red box. See, the problem with Josh is okay, He's in Kettner makes this thing. I don't know if this is what I had. I can't remember. And so here's the problem. I'm not recommending this. Just do some research on this and things like this, Josh. if you're still there. Um, I do not have a video on chord arpeggios, but let me think about that for a second, Steve. So that's a link. I had something called Redbox. I don't. It was using Kettner. It looks very different than mine, and I may still have mine somewhere. I can't think of why I would get rid of them. So they're probably just packed away somewhere. I should probably get them. Just have them. But I used them for a minute when I was using big amps. But you have to put it between. So Josh, here's my question: Are you still Are you still able to have the? What did I get on my shirt? Jeez. Maybe. Are you still able to have your speaker somewhere? Are they just don't want to mic a cabinet, and that's why you're using it, or they want you to not use a cabinet? Because it will sound like farts going direct mode. Even when a head says direct out, it may be preamp out, but it's not going to be power amp out. And there's also problems with amps. If you don't plug them to speakers, they may fry. Like if it's an amplifier needs a load, and the speaker provides that load. So if you take away that load, the amp could blow up if it's an old amp. Newer amps might have a way to, they have maybe some way that you don't have to plug it in, it'll do that. But there's all sorts of different kind of companies that make speaker emulation things, but generally the thing is what they do is, and the Redbox is this: you plug your amp, the speaker out into that thing, you plug the other out into the speaker, so it's getting the load still from the speaker that it needs, the ohmage. And so you're using a Hughes and Kettner. That's funny. Okay, so it must be designed to do that, but you're not getting the tone that. Let me look it up. Let me look that up, okay? Because there may be a button or some kind of software or some kind of. There may be a dip switch. You know what dip switches are? Those are those little teeny tiny switches. There might be a dip switch where you turn on speaker emulation. Because if you're going through speakers, you may not want speaker emulation, because then speaker emulation, what it generally does is kind of takes your sound and kind of rounds it off like this and makes it a little bit more nasally, just make it sound like it's coming through a speaker. Oh yeah, I don't know. Your Blues Juniors they're really hard to get a good clean sound if you turn them up. They gain up too much too easily. It's really hard to get a good clean sound on a Blues Junior. I mean, if you're gonna have any single amp, I would get a Fender Deluxe, like get a Blackface reissue for around $1,000. And then you can put that in another room and all that. I have my cabinet is separate from my amp, so I have just a cabinet by itself, so I can get to my controls really easy. You've seen my setup. It's the same. I'm using the same thing. Now this weekend I did go direct for the first time in probably 10 years, and the reason was because Alex and I were in the middle of the church. It was pretty funny. I called you a dip switch. Specifically Alan, I called a dip switch. And just Alan. No one else. Let me look up that amp, though. I don't know anything about it. Sorry. What was the model number? Deluxe 40. Oh, Grandma's, okay. Yeah, it's a pretty cool looking amp, right? I remember seeing these at the NAMM show. It's like, oh, they're pretty. I mean, it would be nice to be able to use it. I'm just looking at reverb, so I'm not how many technical specs I'm going to get here, but I'm trying to look at the back of it. Let's see, does anybody have a picture of the back? Where are your pictures, dude? My dude, only one picture for your ad? Well, no wonder you haven't sold it. Oh, it has a case. That's kind of cool. Why does nobody have pictures of the back? But even the front has clean crunch lead. I'm assuming it comes with a foot switch, store. Oh, you can store sounds. Yeah. One of the things you can do is just kind of roll off a little of the top end and boost a little of the mid. And that will give you a little bit more, because you're going direct with ears, I'm sure. So that's where it gets really, can be kind of nasty sounding in your ears and almost damaging because you turn it up. The problem with ears is that you're used to the energy from a cabinet and amp and the band, and you turn everything up to get that energy. And this weekend, my ears are still ringing. I had to turn up really loud because I was in front of the house system. So I had to turn my ears up so I didn't hear the house, or else I'd have this horrible delay. I'm still not seeing anything with the pictures of the back of it. Come on, somebody's got to... Oh, here we go. All right, play standby. Okay, here we go. Back. Oh, they do have these little cabinet emulators. It has cabinet. Yours does not have cabinet emulation on the back. It's got a noise gate on it, which is interesting. It tells you the kind of music. Noise gates for metal guys that want to go. So the one I'm looking at, if it's the one I'm thinking of, I'll post it right here so you can open it up. But this is the one I'm looking at on the back. It actually has cabinet. Oh, that's too many. Ugh. Well, that's not going to work. It's like a billion characters. Hold on a second. Oh, because I'm looking at the picture of it. Let me click on this again. This one. Mugu, what's going on, Mugu? I forgot about today's. No, not going to work. It won't let me post it. Too many characters for the URL. Maybe, Dennis, but only. How many of those rules actually had anything to do with COVID? Was it just the touching the face one, right? Which I actually did more than less, because anytime I want to take a sip of my coffee, I touched my face. It programmed me to touch my face when I wanted coffee. Oh, well, there's your problem, Josh. Yeah, mess with it. Yeah, heck yeah. And I would mess with it with the ears in. In fact, does it have a headphone out in the back? Has a line out to power amp? No. Effects loop. But the question is, where do you go out? There's a speaker out. What is that? There's 3 red lights. I don't know what those are. Yeah, so the cabinet emulations there, that would help you. Let me see if I can zoom in on it and see what it literally says. Vintage, modern, small, large, line, mic. Oh wait, on. Okay, you want turn it on. I would put it on mic. I would go to vintage, and I would just say large, a large cabinet, vintage, like a vintage Marshall 412, and I would say mic, because a mic, what mic will do, and you don't get to choose the mic here. This looks like this doesn't come with software. Oh, I see. There's a power soak. So you can also roll off the power, which is nice. Go down to 1 watt. That way you can go ahead and go to a speaker, but it's not going to be very loud. And then there's your direct out. So yeah, you definitely want to mess with the cabinet emulation. And then the noise gate, Josh, the noise gate is so if you want it to chop off. You see, the noise gate is not good if you're holding out a long cord. It'll start to chop it off. It'll be like, and then nothing. You don't want that. But if you're doing and you want to have a lot of gain and then choppy, you crank that up, and the noise gate will do the muting for you. So a lot of times when you're hearing, actually on records, what they do is they literally go into the files and chop things. But they would, in the old days, they would use a noise gate to do that too. Yeah, it looks like the back has lots of things on it. And the power soak thing, you can go down. It's 40 watts, but then you can go down to 20, down to 5, and down to 1. And that way you can still go to a speaker if you're at all concerned about not using a cabinet. Because the problem with not using speakers with a powered amp is that you can fry the amp. So if you go all the way down to 1 watt, it'll still be pretty loud if you're cranked, but it won't be that loud. And then if it's too dark, you can go with a modern cabinet emulation, or you could go with the line instead of mic. Wait a minute. So mic, yeah, I think that's what they mean. I mean, you can experiment with that line and mic and listen to it. But I would go direct. I would just get to church an hour early and mess around with it if you can, if the engineer's there or whatever. Hey, Orville's in the house. Gary Clodfelter, nice to meet you. A little bit of Wiley's on the road again, you think? On the road again. You know, you're right. That is what it is. Yeah, I think that's very much what it is, Gary. Interesting. Well, I knew it was something, but hopefully it's far enough from it. I'll do some research on that. Let's see. Let's see. Thank you for that. Yeah, Willie Nelson made it famous. Let's see if I have music. No, that's not. That's a different song. No. Let's see. No. I mean, yeah, it's the first half of that melody is very, very similar. That's probably why it sounded familiar, but I don't think it's, we'll see. I think it's far enough off that it won't be a problem. But the funny thing is, I think that's the key too, because it looks like it's on C, and I think that's right. To say on the road, on the road. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be enough to. Oh, it's F G. Yeah, that's funny though. It's funny because I'm shocked that the people that I asked to tell me what it sounded like didn't mention that. The people that I thought about for this, they didn't mention that, which is hilarious. You can look at my IMDb if you want to see what I played guitar on and wrote for, if you're curious. What and a lot of the stuff I do isn't on there. Like pop records aren't on there, and either most games aren't. Some games are, but most games aren't. A lot of the pictures here: Skyscraper, Deepwater Horizon, Spencer Confidential, and Transformers. Those are all Jablonski movies, and I just did Why Women Kill for Jablonski. So. Retsina. I've never heard of Retsina. So Gary Clodfelter comes out of the closet there to really help me. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. That's the song I was thinking of. So I think I'm okay though. I think my voicings and everything. I think I'm within the realm of originality. The only thing it may be a different key, but it's too late now. I've already recorded it, so I don't know. We'll see. Dennis, did you answer my question? What other rules are there in the drinking game that have anything to do with COVID? The only one I could think of was a touch of my face, but I don't know. Gary, I think that in the Clodfelter, that looks familiar to me. I think he's been around. Okay, Sam, why are you afraid they'll crash your party and eat and drink like a bunch of dwarves, hobbits? They don't bring wooden horse. There's a question going on. Okay, Steve Barry said 42. That's the answer to life and everything, right? I bought some good wine recently, but I haven't had a chance to drink it, so I need an event. Oh, right. I don't think no, I don't really have a video on it. There's so many different kinds of arpeggios. The hardest ones, and we've talked about this before. The hardest ones are the major minor triads. Those are the hardest ones. Once you start adding sevenths in there, it gets a little bit easier. But the thing about arpeggios is you're going to end up having one note on a string, right? And Steve, we can talk about pure alternating picking, which would be more in the bluegrass realm, or efficiency picking, which would be picking in the direction maybe of the next note and making that the rule. So a lot of the arpeggio thing is going to be more of a right hand exercise than a left hand exercise. Certainly true for major. It's not easy to do a major arpeggio on the left hand, but it's even harder on the right hand. So there was a lick I did here on this. I went. Now, I think when I look at the gypsy jazz players, the modern ones play, they're using pure alternating no matter what they're doing. But they may do some sweeping now that I think about it. But so it's going to be more of a right hand endeavor once you have the arpeggio down you want to do on the left hand. Once you know, like, for example, if I'm playing over the D9 chord, if I want to do like a kind of a 13th D13 with a sharp or a flat 5 or a sharp 4. So I'm playing 4 7 5 5 4 7. So it's very symmetrical. It's almost like a what's that called? Palindrome. It's like a palindrome almost. It's like 4 7 5 5 4 7. But then you're going to lay down your second finger. So once you get the left hand down, you can just go up. You can just go down, or I like to go do both. Once you get that down, what you know you're going to do with the left hand, then it's a matter of how am I going to pick this with the right hand. Thanks, Bruce. So, and then sometimes you can use our hammer-ons like that, so your right hand doesn't have to do hardly anything. But I think on this one, on the descending, I'm pulling off, and then I'm up, down, like that. So, in slow motion, I'm doing this. Okay, so I'm pulling off that to the flat 5, and then also this is a great lick to do over an A minor chord. But then I'm laying down, and I'm basically playing reverse A minor arpeggio like that. E, C, A, but I'm playing it with these fingers, and then I'm going to the first finger there. Hey, Franco, what's going on? Pepper, what's going on? Hey, Pepper, are you watching on a big TV? A giant TV? Really, really big, like Catherine does? So, Joseph, what's going on? So, So that's kind of a cool little. It's kind of a cool arpeggio to do over like a ninth chord because you get that flat 5 going in there. So I actually a long time ago when I was a kid, I harmonized. I could do that lesson. That would be an interesting. Where I basically took a G major scale and I played 6-note arpeggios up the entire scale. So I'm basically doing this, right? G major 7, and then this chord, A minor 7, and B minor 7, and then C major 7, and then D 7, and E minor 7, and then, oh wait, was it? This. F sharp minor 7 flat 5. I'll be praying for you, Joseph. So that is basically what I'm doing is I'm harmonizing a G major scale, right? There's a G major scale. I'm starting on G. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Add the 3rd. Add the 5th. Add the 7th. Oh, what am I doing? The last one. Let's see. This one. Okay. So I've harmonized it with 4 harmonies or 3 harmonies to the root. So now that I have those shapes, now I want to play. I go down a 3rd and up a 3rd. So now I've got the root 3rd, 5th, 7th. Here's the 6th and here's the 9th. Okay. So I ultimately end up with 6 out of the 7 notes. The only note I'm not playing is the 4th. So I'll go and then I did it here. I did it all the way up and down, and every shape was different. Except this one is the same as the first one. And so once I kind of invented that, I kind of came up with this thing. I was looking for stuff to practice. Then I just started practice playing it, and that's kind of where I developed the sweep picking that I don't really use very often. In things like this Django song I do, but wait a minute. It just sounded cool to me, so I just worked it up. And I don't know how often I use it. But the cool thing is, like, if I play this one and then skip the A one and go to the B minor one, it's kind of like an inversion of the G one. So if I'm playing over a G, I could go. I could even go. I don't know. It wouldn't work over bluegrass. Remember, I was trying to be a jazzer when I was in high school. So these are the kind of things I came up with when I was in high school. But those things, when you and again, I'm big on inventing stuff. I'd much rather than buy a book, I'd rather write a book, which is kind of what we're doing with this. Okay, just an iPad. Okay. It's kind of what I'm doing with this with our lessons that we're doing on reading music. Okay. Ultimately, at the end of this, you're gonna have a book for free and a bunch of videos to go along with it. So, yeah. No. No, that's $6 million man. Slow mulation. Ollie. No, that's the description of my brain. So, yeah, so that's one type of arpeggio. Another arpeggios are just like playing. So keep in mind, in classical guitar music, when we're talking about classical guitar music, arpeggios are Giuliani arpeggios are finger-picking patterns. So it's a different nomenclature from classical guitar to all the other guitar, rock and jazz. So we have this. So the way you create an arpeggio is in the more the jazz context is you play every note in the chord, the seventh chord in this case, D minor 7, D, F, A, C, D, F, A, C. And then you just kind of have to, again, once you have that shape memorized, for one thing, that works for E minor 7. In the key, if we're in the key of C, works for A minor. Okay, so there are 3 minor 7th chords in the key of C, or in any major key. The 2, 3, and the 6 are all minor 7th chords. Okay, and then if you wanted to learn like the, oh wait, that's the minor, I did a pure minor. And A minor if you want to learn it there instead of here. But once you learn, just take one shape, then you got to figure out what you're going to do over here. That's really where you've got to kind of work it out. Like what's best? Try pure alternating. Oops. Which is difficult because that's difficult because the pure alternating is because there are some strings you only have one note on. If it were, if we played a D minor 7/11 arpeggio, well then you're just talking about a D minor pentatonic. I'll be praying for you, Joseph, for a new eye. I get it. So that wouldn't be technically an arpeggio. That's if you add too many notes to your arpeggio, it's going to ultimately end up being a pentatonic scale. I could do like C major 13th arpeggio could be, right? Because in a C major 13 you have C, E, G, B, D, F, and A. And so if I played them in that order, then it sounds like an arpeggio. If I play them in thirds. But if I play every note just as they occur on the fretboard, it just ends up being just a major scale. So, 7th arpeggios are great. And my pure triad arpeggios are great. They're just hard as heck. And we've talked about this before. They're really easy and fun on mandolin. On mandolin, it's like, here's a major arpeggio. It's almost like playing a pentatonic scale. But that doesn't work. It actually, because you remember this string will be tuned up a whole step higher. But I have to go up there and get this. So this is, that's hard on guitar. But on mandolin, that same thing we play like that. And it just feels like you're rocking out on a pentatonic scale. So mandolin makes it, violin and mandolin are very easy to play major and minor arpeggios on. Usually, the way I play, if I want to do a major arpeggio, which I did do on this, I went, that or something. I'm kind of envisioning this form, the C form, the caged method. You can go all the way down to the root if you want. And then I do it again, I go, okay? And that's something, believe it or not, Django did. I'm not sure how that guy did. I mean, I've seen a tablature of him playing major, I don't know how he did it. Where there's a will, there's a way. I'm sure he could really separate his first two fingers far, but yeah, but the major and minor arpeggios that I got down were more done by like the speed death metal guys, the Yngwie Malmsteen back in the 80s. Guys were doing the sweep picking, okay? And that's sweep picking. And that was an example of a G major arpeggio. It's not easy. Yeah, interesting, Steve. Yeah, I have heard that a lot, and when I'm solo, like in jazz, if I'm going to use arpeggios, it's usually because the changes are going by quick, right? So D minor, G7, C major 7. All right. Let's say I go to A7 to go back to D minor. It's kind of a 2-5-1-6 progression. I don't really have a time to do. I don't have time to do all of that. I only really have basically. I got that much time, so I'm going to do. The great thing about, like, for example, the D minor arpeggio, D minor 7. Everybody can play this with me. It's 5th fret on the 5th string, and then pinky on the 8th fret, and then 3rd finger on the 7th fret, and then 1st finger on the 5th fret of the 3rd string. Hey, Max. Right? Holly's totally right. Okay. That's all the time you have over this time. That D minor 7 goes away so fast that you don't have time to play any more than those 3 notes, and those are 16. It would be 1, 2, 3, unless the tempo was 1, 2, 3, but these would be 16th notes. So now we're on the C note, okay, of the D minor 7. That's the 7th. D, F, A, C. And the next chord is G7, which is, I could play a G7 arpeggio. That just sounds like an exercise, right? But I will use the D minor 7 to set me up. Okay? I'll use the D minor 7 arpeggio to set me up to something. And you know me, we've done this time and time again, especially in the bluegrass stuff. I love 1 fret movements, like half-step movements. They're the strongest resolution, okay? So lo and behold, we're sitting on a C. Well, the 3rd of the G7 chord is a B. So, right there, okay? So we got this. So we take this, go 1st finger on the 5th fret, and pinky on the 8th fret, and 3rd finger on the 7th fret, and then 1st finger on the 5th fret, okay? You can play all down strokes. You don't have to play this fast. But just get that down, and then just slide your 1st finger down. And now you're playing the 3rd of the G7 arpeggio, or the G7 chord, okay? Well, from there, I could start the G7 arpeggio instead of starting on G, which is, it sounds like a bass line, or it sounds like an academic exercise. It sounds like you're outlining the chords. That's not music. That's not creating anything. That's just doing an exercise. That's just going, oh, I know the answer to this question is all that is. But as soon as you take a note and think of it as a melodic device and use it to get to the next chord, now you're actually creating something that's melodic. Okay? Now from that point, if we did a pure G7 arpeggio, it would be B, D, F, G. B, D, get that with your pinky here. F with the 3rd finger on this 3rd finger on the 2nd string, 6th fret, and then G. Now, that's a reach. I don't like that. And not only that, now what do you do over the C? The next chord, C, you already got your arm around the G. It's boring. So check this out. And this is where the 5 chord is the fun chord. So the D minor, I could play D minor 7 arpeggio, or I could flat that 5. Right? So all I did was I took that's 3rd finger, and I went down to the 2nd finger instead. So I'm playing A flat instead of A natural. But let's say we do A natural. Now I go down to the B. So again, changes are going by really quick. I'm freaking out. I've got okay, how do I? Well, I have all the minor arpeggios, all over the neck. I can do them anywhere. So I know it. So that's a good launching pad. So you grab that arpeggio, and then from there it gives you a starting point. Kind of it's like a diving board. You're jumping on the diving board. Here you go. Now you're getting ready to dive in the pool. Now you got to do something. You got to do a flip, or you got to do I don't know, a pike, whatever they're called. I forget all that stuff. Olympics are coming up, right? Okay, so we have that, and then we go down to B, and we could go to the G, but instead of going to the G, I'm going to go to A flat. Why A flat? Well, that's the flat 9, and what that does is create tension that wants to be resolved, right, to the C. So now I'm going to play A minor 7 to G, basically arpeggio for G7. Now, whoever's playing rhythm doesn't need to play the flat 9. You can play that. That's why the 5 chord is the fun chord. You can do whatever you want over the 5 chord. You can play literally. I could go, I could literally play every single note. Every single note over a 5 chord can be justified in some way. Even the major 7th, if you're on your way to the 7th or the root. So we did this, we even talked about this in the bluegrass thing, just playing in G. We could literally use every single note and justify it. The B flat, the B natural, the C, the C sharp. We could do we even justified the E flat and the D sharp. It was like, wait, how does that work? Well, we got it to work, especially so over the C chord. So, but it's the 5 chord that lends itself so well to being messed with. So we have this real in the pocket, safe D minor 7 arpeggio. Then I go down a fret and I play the B. I grab the pinky, get that D note, get the F note. We're still in the pocket for the G7 chord, but then I go to that A flat. And what does that A flat want to do? Well, over the C chord, of course, it wants to go down. So again, we got this downward movement. Now that's a melodic line, right? That's interesting. I could do it that way. I could go. I could invert it. Something like that. Play the notes out of order, same notes but out of order. I could do the same thing with the D minor, right? So now you're not really playing an arpeggio straight through. You're mixing it up a little bit, which is much more interesting than just going. That's not a solo. That's an exercise. Not a bad one. It's just not what I would call a solo. A solo has to be melodic development. Okay, if we're gonna do giant steps, you can't just do. Let's see. What is it? I don't play giant steps. No. Ah, dang it. Yeah. I mean, if I just played the arpeggios of all the chords and giant steps, it's not going to really sound like much. Although it's kind of what John Coltrane did. But anyway, no comment. I've gotten in a lot of trouble with my is Steve getting thirsty? Are you getting thirsty? Oh, will there be a quiz? No quiz. But that's kind of, and I don't call myself a jazz guitar player, but I could play one on TV. That's kind of what I'm hearing when I'm just kind of weaving lines, doing an arpeggio here or there. Trying to find ways to get be interesting passage between two chords, and the chords keep changing in jazz, so you got to kind of keep up with it. But that's totally different arpeggio thing than than heavy metal guys doing that. It's like I can't. Sometimes I did that for a game last year. I think it was. I had to do like he wrote these lines that were like. I actually got it down, but it took me about 10 takes to get that one lick. And I was close enough on the first take that I thought, okay, I can do this. If I was like, no, there's no way to do this, impossible. But something by George Harrison. I don't know what that means. So let's see. I'm going to take off. Yeah, even though I got started. Well, look, it's been 2 hours. I actually went 2 hours, so you got the full me out of it. But I didn't have any music, so I will try to get music up. I probably won't do anything till next Monday. I will try to set an alarm or something so that I can remember. I was just playing on some stuff. You can see this is this is the Apex stuff. So some of it's fairly easy to read, and some of it's a little bit more complex, but totally doable. And I've got more work coming, so we'll see what happens. What's this? All right. No. Yeah, so let me see if I can come up with 7 more tips for older beginners. And I will reference the previous tips, but yeah, slower jazz tunes I can play. The bebop stuff is hard. I had played in a bebop group, and you just kind of wing it and you try to keep up. And one thing that you can do with faster bebop tunes. 91 minutes. Is that how long I've been going? No, 2 hours and 6 minutes. So that's 126 minutes. One of the things you can do, okay, is you can go through the tune and then basically write down, okay, if it's D minor 7 to G7 to C, and then it goes C minor 7 to F7 to B flat or whatever, you can bracket those first 3 chords and go C major, and then bracket the next 3 chords and go B flat major. Basically, when you're really trying to keep up with fast jazz and you're not really adept at it, it's going by fast. You just look at the key changes. When it changes keys, you just change that key. You just start playing scales in that key. And it's not really like play scales. It's just like, okay, mentally move your head over and mentally go from C to B. Now you've got a new a playground of notes that are going to be totally legit and are going to work for the most part over these chords. And then if it shifts to the key of A, now you want to move down to the key of A, and you want to find, so you can go ahead and analyze the chord, a fast tune, like Cherokee would be a good example. If you wanted to do that, you could totally do that. And that would be legitimate. A lot of young guys do that. Jamie Ebersol would do that. Jamie Ebersol was one of the greatest teachers of jazz improv of all time. He did the Jamie Ebersol records in the 70s and 80s. And I still have them. I have a ton of them. I have the books and everything, and they were great. They would just be jam tracks, basically. And he would go through, and all the songs he would have, here's the tonal centers for these sections. And, so that was always a good way to play through fast stuff. So, Bruce, thank you for reminding me. Sorry, you should have gotten on me at 5 minutes after 9. Then it wouldn't have looked like I forgot. But 36 minutes after 9, I think totally looks like I forgot. So and Joseph, I'll be praying for you. Pray for the pain to go away. You need a new eye. Hey, I need a new eye. I only got one. Busy. Getting busier. I got a new instrument coming Wednesday, so I may do an unboxing video. It'll be kind of fun, and then I will post that, and you can see it. I'll have it out probably. I didn't get a box for it or a case or anything for it, so maybe it comes with a case. I don't know, but I'm probably going to hang it on the wall. It's a wall hanger for sure. It's a very interesting guitar or instrument, so not a guitar, and it's about 1,500 years old, so it's going to be. Yeah, it's an old instrument. All right? So we'll talk later. God bless you all. Holly, thank you. Dennis, thank you. Bruce, thank you. We did pretty good. It peaked out at 40. We had 40 at one point, but it fell really fast. So we're sitting in the mid-20s the whole time there, pretty much. So that's pretty good. Oh, Beatles arpeggios. Yeah, definitely. A piano is easy to arpeggio on, and there's a lot of piano songs that have that. But not a lot of guitar songs use arpeggios because it's not easy to do on guitar. So riffs, sure. Scales, yeah. Pentatonics, yeah. But minor, major, seventh arpeggios are not very easy. But that's really a lot of what populates that gypsy stuff. So, all right. I will talk to you later. Bye.